Hello YouTube, this is Mike Ralph from Danville Advisor. I wanted to show you a quick video of my garden setup. Last year I did a series of my Dutch bucket setup and my tower garden. I think I did 5 videos on that. And this year I tried something different. Last year my setup worked very well, except toward the end of the year I got into a lot of blight and lost hundreds of my tomato plants. But that was alright, it was a good learning experience. This year I decided I was going to introduce a few different things in my garden. Started out with these Kradke boxes. And I planted strawberries in it, I planted Brussels sprouts, spinach, cucumber, lettuce, and celery. And I put those up. I also put up my pipes again, but I did something different with the pipes this year, which I'll explain a little bit. And down here where I had all my Dutch buckets, I had the entire setup of Dutch buckets like I did last year, 19 buckets, all fed by fertilized water. But as I said, last year I had blight in all my whole system. This year I tried to use a bleach to bleach out any blight that might have been left over, because I wanted to reuse all my grow media, which was actually some riverstone. And set up all my buckets and planted my tomato plants, and literally within a week or two every plant had blight. I don't know if it's because of the rain, I don't know what what caused it, but I'll be honest, I got pretty frustrated with the whole thing, and I disassembled my entire setup, threw every plant away, and except my strawberries, and pretty much called it a day. So this year I wanted to try something as well. I did some potatoes in barrels. I have 4 potatoes planted in this barrel and 4 in this barrel. Now that may be too much. Again, I'm just trying to learn, so set that up. Now my wife would not have any part of not having tomato plants, so we just put some of the buckets up and put some soil in, and we grew some. Now, pretty obvious right off the bat, I have 2 plants in every bucket, so I don't suspect they're going to be able to grow very much. But better than nothing. Now, this year, what I did with my tubes, rather than letting them all run downhill, so I introduced water in the top one and it went down through all 4 tubes as like a Z pattern and emptied out the bottom. I kept them level. Now what this allows me to do is water them less, and they'll maintain about 1 inch of water in the bottom throughout the day. So right now I have them set up to water 15 minutes on every hour. I'll probably cut that back. But as you can see, my peppers are doing great. My Brussels sprouts are doing great. I have some oregano. I have, again, lettuce. The only thing that's doing poorly, either down here, right here, or up in the tubes, is my spinach. It's doing terrible. I don't know. It must be the fertilizer mix. I'm not sure. I'm using a tomato variant. The master blend tomato formula in everything, and so this is not doing well. That's okay. Cucumber, I'm breaking one of the rules around here is I'm actually mixing a bunch of different plants in each box, which I know better because the MPH gardener tells us not to do that because the roots are different and they'll grow differently. I'm going to have my wife Lisa lift this up and show you the roots underneath. Go ahead, pull it forward. I don't want to bust it, pull it forward. Now lift it up higher. Okay, as you can see, there is my cucumber plant. There's my Brussels sprouts, my celery, and you know, there are different roots on different plants. They all seem to be looking healthy, but this one is definitely going to overshadow every last one. So we'll see how it goes as they get bigger. Now my strawberries are the only thing that I actually kept after the initial planting. Like I said, I lost most of my plants, and basically got frustrated and got rid of my whole system. Now my tomato plants, my strawberry plants, I'm sorry, my strawberry plants, that's what they look like underneath. All look pretty healthy and pretty even. Now, one of the things I think I've stunted their growth a little bit because I did not fertilize the water for a long period of time. Like I said, I was almost threw a towel in on everything, so I didn't even bother fertilizing these. They had been in for maybe 2-3 weeks on just plain water. Kept them alive, but they certainly didn't grow much. But that's my setup. It's starting to rain right now. That's one of the biggest problems I have is when it rains, my boxes get filled up with water. I have to use a siphon and siphon the water off, and that dilutes the mixture of the fertilizer. How I'm going to deal with that next year, I'm going to run a half hoop house from underneath my soffit over top of this and then down here, so I can actually make a half hoop greenhouse. That'll keep all the water off of my plants, so I can just control the water through my pumps. And it should allow me to grow earlier, because the first day that I planted my my strawberry plants, the very first day we got frost, and I thought I lost all my plants. Luckily, I came out in the morning, they all had frost on them. I wasn't really expecting it, nor was I listening to weather, and they all survived. So good for them. I don't know how well they'll do through the year. We'll find out. Like I said, my pepper plants are doing great. They all have peppers on them, and the peppers up top, up here, got some nice peppers on there as well. So again, forgive me for keep confusing when I'm talking about strawberry plants and saying tomato plants. Actually, my strawberry plants, 24 of those, and I just have a mixture of who knows what else. But that's it. So far, this is working good. My pump that I was worried about last year, because it was very, I don't know, erratic and it was worn out, it got locked up this year. Tried to take it apart, fix it, and did not be able to fix it, so I threw it away and got a new one. And new one seems to be working well. I don't think I have near enough water flow to keep the pump busy. The pump is much higher rated than what I'm using it for. I have most of the valves, you can see, mostly shut off. And I just run it for 15 minutes at a time. I actually have these offset so that I can turn these higher or lower. Now these are set up low right now, and that allows me to vary how deep I want to keep the water inside the tube. Because if I turn this sideways, slide it up here, then the water will obviously get deeper. Now I can run a lot more water through the tubes by just opening up the valves, but the drains are quite small, so even if the pump shut down, it'll take 15-20 minutes for the water to drain out. It'll get pretty deep. If I open the valves up all the way, actually the water backs up because the drain won't drain fast enough, and it'll actually overflow these cutouts. It'll just come pouring out of here. So I know I have plenty of water. I don't put a lot of water through the system. And again, this was designed to run 19 buckets down through here, which I'll have next year. And like I said, I hope to have all of this covered with a greenhouse, a plastic PVC framed greenhouse. So that's that. Again, my potatoes are doing well. I have to add more dirt. Kind of curious how they'll turn out. If they work well, I'll probably double the capacity of those next year, maybe do 6 barrels or 4 barrels. And I want to put one of these boxes in between every one of these piers. I might have to adjust the piers somewhat to get a box in between each one. I think I'm just a couple inches short on some of these. So I should be able to add at least 3 or maybe 4 more boxes to my system next year. So again, hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and have a great day.